1 week out from the NFL draft and teams are finalizing their draft boards, Giants GM Joe Schoen has a tough decision looming at pick 3 that might make or break his career. Yesterday, he spoke about the team's current thoughts about potentially drafting a quarterback after signing both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in the offseason.
With the signing of those two players, I think we put ourselves in a position where, I don't think that's mandatory or something that we're, our feet to the fire and we have to do. I think the two guys we signed have played a lot of ball. They've got a lot of skins on the wall, and I do think we've upgraded that room, compared to where it was a year ago. I like the two guys that we have, and Tommy's still in there, and he's won games for us too, and he's still developing. So we're happy with the makeup of the room right now.
All right, ACC Network analyst EJ Manuel here with us. Great to have you. Love the suit. And my girl, Mina Kimes, joining us as well. Mina, let me start with you. Good morning, by the way, West Coast time.
Good morning.
Hello. Are you buying this from Joe Schoen?
If I'm a Giants fan, I hope he's telling the truth. Because what you don't want is a GM who's fighting to save his job. I think we all know this current regime in New York is on the hot seat. Reaching for a quarterback to give the fan base hope rather than thinking about what's best in the long term. My belief is that there are two truly great, potentially transcendent players in this draft, Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. I think the New York Giants should take one of them. I do not think this is a team that is a quarterback away, and quite frankly, I don't think the quarterbacks outside of Cam Ward are that type of quarterback who can resuscitate a franchise. So going back to Joe Schoen, I hope he will make this decision with what's best for the long term for the franchise in mind, rather than just doing something to save his job.
Well, there's two schools of thought here, and I actually agree with Mina here, because if they didn't sign Russell and Jameis, it would have made sense to try to reach at that third pick to get your quarterback for the future. But let's be honest, guys, the situation for the Giants, they got to win, and they got to win now. So you go into this season with veteran quarterbacks, and we can all say what we want about, we can say what we want about Jameis, we can say what we want about Russ, that they're washed, or whatever it is. But how many quarterbacks have we seen turn their careers around? We've seen Geno Smith do it late in his career. We've seen Sam Darnold do it last year. We've seen Baker Mayfield do it. So I still think these guys have ammo in the tank to give out. But also, why put Shedeur or another quarterback, in the first round in a position where it's not really a stable franchise, too? Because, again, if things go south for the Giants, Coach Dable might not be around. Joe Schoen also might not be around. And then you got these guys with a new regime. They got drafted in the first round. Maybe that new head coach again. I'm not calling for them to get fired, but we just know how this thing works. New regime comes in. They want to bring their own people. So if you're at 3, if Travis Hunter's there, you can't not take him. And the same thing for Abdul Carter. I think you add the best value at that spot. You got an early second-round pick. You take your quarterback there.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, and it's not that I disagree with anything either of you are saying, and it's good to see both of you. Let me say this. When it comes to Shane, why should I have any faith in him right now? Don't get me started with him. My nickname for him is Shame, not Shane. The way he conducted himself, he should have been ashamed of himself, letting go of Saquon Barkley and handling it the way that he did. Having said all of that, with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston now in your quarterback room, okay, unless you have a transcendent figure at the quarterback position that you believe is that dude, then of course he should entertain trading down to get an abundance of other assets, because clearly the Giants need it. You talk about you got to win now. Well, listen, that ain't gonna happen. The Eagles are in this division. The Commanders are in this division. As far as I'm concerned, you're fighting to avoid last place if you're the New York Giants. That's what you are doing. But you can look better even while doing that battle. If you sit up there and you show an upward trajectory, then I can look at it and I can say, okay, that's the way to go. Question for both of you is this. Carter, Travis Hunter, both transcendent figures. Do you have to take one of them if either available? Or because they're transcendent and everyone knows it, the multitude of assets that you can get in return. Now, that answer isn't the same for every team. Some teams need an abundance of assets. Some teams need to take that guy. Which team is the Giants?
Phone lines are open. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. Because I think those are the only two players in the draft that you actually might see teams, outside of the quarterback position, willing to come up and potentially give a haul of picks for. I think in particular with Carter, edge pass rush is not a need with the New York Giants, right? You have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, you still take Carter. He is that good, and getting a player of his caliber at that value, tremendous. But if Travis Hunter's gone, he would be my first choice for New York, because I think he's a perfect fit for them. you open the phone lines. If there is an offer so good that you can pick up a ton of picks, because there are a lot of needs on this team: offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, the secondary, defensive tackle. I mean, it's like the whole dang roster, right?
That's right.
So your phone lines are open, but it's got to be a good offer, because I view, and EJ, you can tell me what you think, there is a pretty big drop-off between those two players and the next tier of their positions.
Okay.
Well, as far as the needs of what the Giants need to have this season, too, I think that's also part of it. You know, if Travis Hunter's not there at 3, then I think you consider trying to trade back, and maybe you can get a quarterback later in the first round, and also maybe you get some other equity, extra second-round picks, or maybe even a second first-round pick. So I think for the Giants, look, the thing is they got the early picks, so they're going to have to make a decision up front, because once you see number 1, which is probably going to be Cam Ward, go to Tennessee Titans, number 2, between Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, we think to this point right now, then you have a decision to make. But ultimately, you don't go quarterback at number 3. That's the biggest thing. I think that would be irresponsible, truthfully, considering the situation that this team is in right now. And I keep doubling down on this, guys. I've been on rosters before. I know how it is in the quarterback room. You bring in a longtime pro in Russell Wilson. You also bring in now a longtime pro in Jameis Winston, and you bring in a rookie too? It's like, what are we doing? Are we trying to win right now? And the quarterbacks are certainly going to feel that way. Maybe they haven't earned that right to ask for that kind of clout, but that's certainly a part of it. And I also add this. The star for this team is who? Malik Neighbors. He's the guy for this team. So coming into the season, he's going to want touches. No disrespect to any of these rookie quarterbacks, but it's not a guarantee that they come out there and they're able to throw the ball to him 80, 90 times like he might want those opportunities. I'll be more confident with the veterans.
Molly, do you know this about your New York Giants, that their quarterback position since 2019, they've played more games than touchdown passes they've thrown since 2019. That's the quarterback.
Now that is a stat for the ages. Thank you, Stephen A., for sharing that. That was encouraging. Mina, speaking of needing some help at the quarterback position, we mentioned, obviously, they brought in Jameis, brought in Russell